Hi, this is Krista, giving you a smile first thing in the morning. At least it is for me. And I am doing these series of videos about managing Meniere's, how we can feel better emotionally about Meniere's, because I work with people with Meniere's. And um, one of the biggest issues that we have is this fear that we get as soon as we get home from the doctor with this diagnosis, this brand new diagnosis. We get online, we research the crap out of it. And I think a lot of us, if you're one of the ones that is up at 3 in the morning researching more online articles, trying to get more information, learning about what you yourself can do in addition to seeing the doctors, is there are two types of Meniere's people. Um, the first, there's two types of Meniere's people: the type that accepts their fate and just accepts it, lives through it, suffers through it. And then there's the type that refuses to accept their fate, that accepting where we're at and accepting the idea that we're always going to be sick is not livable. It's not acceptable. And it creates this pressured drive. And that's what gets you that's what gets you online at 3 in the morning to keep getting the articles, even though you've read them 100 times. It's what creates the anxiety, um, because there is a sense of life that we feel like we deserve to live and that we can live. And then there's this stuff that we hear from other people, from the medical community, from online articles, that says that this thing is always going to be with us, and it creates this friction, and it's panic. It's it's what creates that roller coaster of, I feel great on the good days, I'm going to have a fantastic day, and then feeling down into that valley of sorrow on the bad days, because we always want to keep getting better. So, so I want to go into these two types of people because there's a lot of guilt around those of us who suffer with anxiety, because we're always striving to find the right answer, get the next doctor who will agree with our lifestyle point of view. Um, and I want to just talk about that for a minute. First, I want to make sure that you're aware that you can have a free consultation with me, talk about where you're at now, where you want to go. Just type in strategy call in the comments or send me a private message. We'll get you on the schedule. Um, so these two types of Meniere's people, you may have heard about them in the Meniere's community. People that say, I know somebody that doesn't have anxiety about Meniere's. If they have an attack, they just sleep it off. They don't change the way they're eating. They still have like burgers and French fries. And people can say that with a sense of, we almost admire that quality because of how much anguish that we feel every second of every day. From the minute we open our eyes, we're thinking about, how can we do better? There must be something we haven't found yet. What's this new mysterious thing I'm feeling? Do other people experience it? And what do I do about it? Um, a lot of times, people from the second set of Meniere's people, those that keep trying, keep improving, that pressure can create the anxiety where sometimes family and friends will look at us as if we're a little bit too wired about it, if we're too anxious about it. And we feel that. We feel that people talk to us in a way that maybe they think we're a little bit crazy. And the important thing that you got to remember is that that drive is telling you something. It's telling you that the degree that you enjoy your life is so important, that it's more important than being satisfied. Just, you're not satisfied with where you're at. You have a hunch. You have a belief that there's something better. You're online, you're researching to find out what it is. That pressure, you want to cultivate that, because that energy is what's going to keep you going through the lifestyle changes. The turning down the cheeseburger for the big tasty salad on the side. You know what I'm saying? It's going to keep you learning the skills to lower stress and anxiety. Things like engaging with people and activities that are healthy, not engaging with people and activities that are not healthy. And to learn those things and to become the new person, we call it the new normal, you need a certain amount of, I am not going to give up an inch of ground. You need that energy to keep you following through, to keep you saying on the bad days, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing with the diet, with the low sodium, with the water, and I'm going to maintain this idea and this belief that it's going to help me. It may be true that you and I are going to carry this Meniere's thing with us for the rest of our lives. It's also true that there are many, many people who follow through on lifestyle goals, who follow through on learning how to think better, who follow through on changing how they feel about themselves and recreate themselves. There are many people who do that and experience lower symptoms. You hear about the people who got a diagnosis, totally changed their lifestyle. Maybe they don't even hang out with the same people they used to because they were negative. Now they hang out with people who are supportive. They choose their experiences. They choose how they think about themselves. And all of a sudden, they feel better physically. So those people who take the first diagnosis and live with whatever comes and just sleep for the next week if they have to, and don't really worry about it, those people never experience that kind of rewarding evolution that people who crave a better life experience. The amount of space between where you are now and where you want to be, the greater that space is, the greater the anxiety and that pressure that's driving you to do the researching. And I just want to make sure that that's clear, because anxiety feels bad, pressure feels bad, dissatisfaction feels bad, but it also brings about the kinds of changes that get the results that are required for you to live a life that's worth getting up for. And I want you to look forward to getting up. And I want you to be able to tell the kind of stories, that say, 3 to 6 months ago, I felt terrible emotionally, physically. And I was dissatisfied with that. I refused to let this thing get me. And so I started making these kinds of changes, and they helped and they worked. I'm not a doctor, obviously. I hope you have a good doctor that you're working with. I want you to remember that if you experience some of this dissatisfaction, it is not that you're crazy. It's not that you're wrong. It's that you have a sense of what your life can be like and look like and feel like that's driving you to keep finding these answers to make it happen. And I want you to remember that if you have that drive, there must be something there. It's worth the journey. It's worth the experience. You come out on the other side a much better person. The things that you do for your life, in addition to what the doctors can help you, they're worth those changes. They create that sense of beauty and that sense that you're glad you got up in the morning. So I'm going to leave that with you today. Let me know what you think about all of this. Have you run into those people that seem to be so satisfied that they don't really worry about what they eat, and it kind of makes you a little mad because it's like, well, how come I can't be more like that? I'd like to know your take on that. If you've run into the people like that in the Meniere's community, I'd like to know what is interesting to you to talk about that maybe we don't talk about enough in the Meniere's community. I want you to let me know if you want that strategy call so we can talk about where you are personally and how we can get you to where you want to be in 3 to 6 months. These changes don't happen overnight, but they're worth the journey. Just put in the comments strategy call, or how you're doing today, or if I am way off base, correct me, and I hope your symptoms are low and that you're having a good day today. I'll see you on the next run.